But these parents can certainly answer questions for you also. Andrew's in here, he's a current student, he can answer a question for you too, as we get going and as we finish. So please connect with various people to learn about STEM. ECCA, we're in our 10th year here that the building's been open, and we are home to the Effingham County School District STEM program, as well as some specialized career tech agricultural education programs. Some of those programs, a number of them will be available to your children as STEM students. If you decide that your child does not want to do STEM after learning about this, that's perfectly fine. Your child can still come to school here and take one of our career tech programs, okay? Here at ECCA, our mission is to create a high-tech career focus to better serve our students' needs for those entering directly into the workforce from high school and those planning further post-secondary education. Now, that post-secondary education, we feel like we're going to give your children in STEM everything they need to get into university. Some of them will even have what they need to go Ivy League if they so choose, and you choose. But trust me, it's perfectly fine if your children want to go to vocational school, college, Savannah Tech, Geechee Tech, or if they just want to go straight to the workforce. What we're ultimately trying to do is we want your children to be productive citizens when they exit high school and go into the real world. That's the ultimate goal. Our vision here at the Effingham College and Career Academy is that we will equip students to compete in a global society by preparing students to produce practical, real-world solutions to issues faced by business and industry. Remember, we're a college and a career academy here. I have a dual role. I introduce myself as principal CEO. So I serve two roles here, and that CEO piece only comes into play in public education and college and career academies. We operate on a business model. We have a board of directors. We have a CEO. As principal, I'm here to support you and your children in their educational journey and to serve you from the educational aspect of the school. As a CEO, I represent this school out in the community with business and industry. And it's two very distinct and different roles that I serve. And, but it's a very rewarding career for me. Our beliefs, we have a number of beliefs. These are some things that we're doing right now as part of STEM certification. ECCA, we believe in an interdisciplinary approach to learning. Interdisciplinary being that we don't want your child just to go to a math class and that's all they're going to do is strictly math. We want them to hear a little more in math. We want to hear where math relates to the real world. Same thing when they go to science, ELA, social studies, career tech. We want to see math and science going on. We believe in a hands-on approach to learning. We have found that a lot of students like using their hands, and they get more out of education that way. And they're going to do that here. A lot of project work in science and scientific research courses, in our career tech courses. They'll be running plasma cams and laser engravers and laser cutters and you name it. Working with patients in healthcare, so there's a lot of hands-on here. We believe soft skills are an important part of learning. How do you look somebody in the eye when you talk to them? How do you shake someone's hand? How do you introduce yourself to someone? Just those things that industry is going to be looking for when your children go out to get those jobs. We're also going to have an opportunity to put your children into some internships if they so choose. We're about to put 3 STEM students into internships this semester in the logistics and distribution industry. Those students need to know how to do a job interview. They need to have a resume, a cover letter, some of those things there. How to, when they're on the job, put this thing away. Don't be sitting out using this because it will get you fired. Okay? That's soft skills. We believe that mistakes are part of the learning process. Your children are going to make some mistakes here. They already do that in school. It's okay. If they're going to make a mistake on something and they can turn around and figure out the right solution to it, then they're learning. And that's perfectly fine. And we expect to see that. And we want you to expect to see that also. If you're, and I know most of you because I don't know you individually, but I know what caliber student and child you have. You are accustomed to that child making straight A's, if not 100s, their whole school career to this point, correct? For the most part, A's and maybe some B's, and doing very little work to get that, right? Sure, that's fact. Right, Andrew? That's the way it was. We're going to challenge your children here in STEM, okay? And they're going to make mistakes. Perfectly fine. That's how we learn, okay? We believe in maintaining strong business and industry partnerships. And when we do have some strong ones, Gulfstream, Georgia Pacific, Georgia Power, Georgia Ports Authority, and lots of others, okay? That's just a few off the top of my head. And then there's some dots at the bottom. The dots at the bottom, at that point, we pick up with the Effingham County School District's billing system. And those are published at the district level, and they're available for you to see. Our STEM program really was designed 5, 6, 7 years ago. I was not part of the design of STEM, nor was Mr. Dickey, Dr. Peavy, none of these teachers. It was designed, we were all in various other roles in the school system. But the STEM program is designed to prepare students for success in post-secondary education. We talked about that, careers, and citizenship. It's going to appeal to students who seek a small school approach to learning, where academic subjects are connected and where students are engaged in rigorous math and science. That small school approach is one of the unique characters here. When I say small school approach, the STEM program is designed to have a maximum of 500 students in it, grades 9 through 12. Currently, we're in year 4. We're sitting right at 400 students, so we got a little room for growth still, which was expected. We figure probably it'll take us maybe 6 years or so to get it to full capacity. But we're closing in on it. We're at 400 now. But at any one time during the day, about the max number of students we have in this building is probably the highest number is about 580. 400 STEM and about 180 career tech students who kind of come and go throughout the day. We have 4 periods of those that come and go, and I think we start in the mornings with about 150 or so students. The next period is about 160. It jumps by about 10 each period, and at the end of the day we have about 180 plus the 400 STEM. At the high school, if you're at South High, your child goes to South High, they're going to be in the building with almost 1,600 students. If you go to Effingham County High School, your child's going to be in that building with between 1,800 and closing in on 1,900 students at one time. So that small school approach is very nice, and students really love that. And of course, it's nice to work in. I'm not going to tell a story there. It is nice. But we do have about 1,000 students who come through the door every day. And but no more than about 580 at any one time. We do have some STEM-themed pathways that your child will select. They'll select at least one of these as a STEM pathway. The ones that they can select are engineering and technology, and we have 2 different teachers who teach engineering and technology. Their lab is this way. It is open at the end, and you're welcome to venture down to all the labs. I know that Mr. Spake has his open because he's going to be running the laser cutter. He's going to be down there cutting out some stuff. Y'all are welcome to go see what the students do. Please do go visit. Computer programming, we have 2 computer science teachers. Patient care, allied health and medicine, and sports medicine. Student can choose any one of those 3 as a healthcare pathway. We have biotechnology research and development. That one starts with the same class that's in the healthcare science classes, but then it veers off to biotech stuff. Very interesting. Matter of fact, this week they're going to be doing some crime scene labs in their class this week. So I think they held off on splattering fake blood all over the floor and laying a body out for tonight, and maybe we should have. So yeah, I think it would have been fun, but that's that particular program. And then veterinary science would be the other. Now we do have some other programs in the building. Career Tech, we have logistics and distribution, automotive, culinary arts. Those are not STEM-themed pathways designated that way by the Georgia DOE, so they will not serve as a STEM-themed pathway for your children. Doesn't mean they can't possibly explore some of those classes. We're trying to work some of that out where we can get them. Lots of them are interested in learning how to cook. So at some point we may work that out. We may not, but that's the ones that your children would pick. So when we talk about STEM, we know kind of how is STEM different than if my child just goes to Effingham County High School or South Effingham High School? Well, here we do have that interdisciplinary approach where we try to talk about multiple subjects in each class. Math will talk a little about science, but math's also going to talk about where will this math apply in the real world. Same thing in science, same thing in ELA, which is English Language Arts, same thing in social studies courses. We try to present them with real world problems. And we're working on a program now where we're going to, with Mr. Dickey, one of his things he wants to accomplish is to get local businesses to actually give us problems to solve, engineering firms and various companies like that, and say, here's a good problem for your students to try to solve. STEM is thought-provoking. Your child has to be able to think. Have to be able to think at a little higher level. They need to be able to think outside the box. Okay? It's inquisitive. We want your children to ask questions. We want them to research. We want them to figure out a lot of the answers on their own, quite honestly. We're not going to let them sit there and spin their wheels forever, but we want them to think about it. It's not about me spoon-feeding your child or these teachers spoon-feeding your children. They need to learn to think. That is a skill, parents, that is lacking in this generation. Some of you are shaking your heads. I think you know that. That's not across the board. That's not every child. But it is a skill that's lacking a little bit. So we won't try to work on that. We're a very supportive environment. Okay? Staff is very supportive. Our teachers are always here. They're here in the mornings before school. They're here after school. We have some teachers who come in and do study sessions on weekends before AP exams. We're here for you. We are in the customer service business. That is something that Superintendent Dr. Sherhouse really harped on with the entire school system 2 years ago was, remember, we're in the customer service business. You are our customers. Your children are our customers. We work for you. Superintendent signs my paycheck, but I work for you. Okay? We have an instructional focus period, 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. What we do is we shorten every period, and there's 5 a day. We shorten them by 10 minutes and make a 50-minute instructional focus or a 6th period class. And Dr. Peavy, she's kind of charged as instructional supervisor. Every 2 weeks, we look at all 400 students' grades in every one of their classes, and we really do that. And then we place them in a tutoring session for those Tuesdays and Fridays. It's not student choice. It's Dr. Peavy's choice. If we make it student choice, they're going to go where their friends are, and they're going to go to the teachers that they like, when they really need to be over here in this class where they have the lowest grade. So we know what your children's grades are. We're looking at them every 2 weeks administratively. Our students are so supportive of each other. We have students that serve as tutors here in the building. And we found that sometimes students struggle a little bit with some concepts that the teacher might be teaching them. And maybe it's just the way the teacher is saying it, it's not connecting. But they can get a friend to tell them, or another student to tell them and explain it, and they get it. So we have a network, and Dr. Peavy maintains that network as IS of students who serve as tutors. Most of them, it's free most of them are free because they're doing it for community service hours for Beta Club, National Honor Society, and other organizations. But it's very, very supportive. And administratively, myself, Dr. Peavy, Mr. Dickey, we have open door policy. Open door policy for parents, open door policy for students. Listen, Dr. Peavy had a line out of her door. It's the beginning of a new semester. There's new courses. They're starting, as of this past Monday. So, there's lots of students seeing her. I've had students in all week seeing me about various things. We want to hear from your students. If they don't tell us what's going on and what they're struggling with, then we can't help. So we do support that way. STEM is very hands-on, pretty much across the board. It's not uncommon for us to have kids wandering around this building all day long, doing various things, doing certain things down the staircase for a scientific research project with. We have groups that I don't know what it is. Probably physics. It probably has to do with velocity or something, or speed, that they have to lay on a skateboard and they get one push, and by a certain point they have to see how far they can go, and they have to do the mathematical equations to figure out whatever. Okay, I'm not a physics teacher, but yeah. So it's always something going on. And then, you know, we are teacher facilitated in a lot of cases. You know, what does teacher facilitated mean? It means that we really want your children to work at trying to solve something on their own sometimes, okay? We're going to present them a problem sometimes, and that teacher's going to step back. They're not going to step out of the picture. They are going to step back. Because we want your children to think it and work it and solve it. Figure it out, okay? There's a solution. There's lots of solutions for problems. What can you come up with, okay? So, you know, sometimes students will go home and tell mom and dad, my teacher's just not teaching. He or she's, they gave us this problem and all of them, they wouldn't help us. It's not that they're not teaching, I promise. We don't do that all the time, okay? There's a lot of direct instruction going on, but sometimes, you know, we are going to take a step back and let them facilitate and just listen. It's amazing what the kids can come up with. What skills and competencies does my child need to possess or learn to be successful in STEM? They don't need to know all these things right now, but time management, that's the big one. I promise you, your children are they're gonna do a little more schoolwork than they probably ever had to do. We're not going to work them to death. I know you all have heard that there's 6 hours of homework every night, 5 nights a week, 7 nights a week. That is not true. Board of Education has a homework policy. The max homework they can do in any given night at high school level is roughly about 2.5 hours. Now, and that's how we planned it. I can tell you your children probably will have homework in math every night, Monday through Thursday. If they have an AP course, they'll probably have homework about every night. Everything else, they won't. There's a rotation there, okay? We don't give your children 5 and 6 hours of homework every night, okay? I know the rulers are out there. Trust me. That's not true. They're going to learn this time management skill. It's going to take them a couple weeks, okay? We're going to help them. You know, we're going to have an onboarding event prior to school starting, and one of the big topics there will be time management. And we're going to have teachers as well as students teaching them how to manage their time to get everything done at STEM. They need to be organized. It's not uncommon administratively for us to do book bag interventions. They'll come to my office, Mr. Dickey's office, Dr. Peavy's office. Stuff just falling out. Do you have this particular homework that says it's missing and you got a 0 for? Well, I don't know. Let me see. All right, pull it out. We start going through and okay, this empty Dorito bag, do you need that? We throw away. Those gum wrappers, we'll throw away for you. So, you know, we'll do that. But organization, they will need to learn some organizational skills. Once again, that thinking. And once again, that's one that's missing with this generation overall. But thinking at a little higher level, outside the box thinking, that's something they will learn. Problem solving, you know, don't expect a teacher or a staff member to give you every answer. You really need to try to figure it out on your own. That's how you learn. At some point, if you can't figure it out, somebody's going to give it to you. But we're going to make you work to try to figure it out first, okay? Soft skills, once again, how do you introduce yourself? How do you shake somebody's hand? Respect. Respect is a two-way street. Mutual respect. Student to teacher, teacher to student. Okay? How do you make eye contact when you talk to people? Emotional control. You've got to control those emotions. You know, you're gonna get upset here and think the world's coming to an end. It's not. Your child's going to think that. Well, some of you will think. It's not. It's not coming to an end, okay? It's okay. We'll figure it out. Learn to control that temper and control the use of that technology. We are a one-to-one technology school. We're the only one-to-one technology school in Effingham County School District. That means if your child decides to come to STEM, probably toward the end of that first week, we're going to issue them a Chromebook, and it's theirs to keep 24/7. Belongs to us. It's in their custody 24/7. Most everything we do is based on technology, so we will provide that to your child. They don't have to use it. If they've got a laptop that they prefer to use, it's perfectly fine. They can bring it. There are will be some filters and barriers with personal devices, so that's why we do the Chromebooks. And they carry those with them every day. Now, if they damage it or lose it, you're on the hook for it. They're not super expensive, but they're about $175, $80 a piece. And every child, all 400 of them have it. And so technology, they've got to know how to use technology properly. And if they're on the school device, the Chromebook, then we know what they're doing. Big Brother's not looking at them every minute of the day, but I promise you if they get into something they shouldn't be in, they're going to know. Okay? All right, so look at your red folder. Now we're going to get to the really important part. Pull out the timeline that looks like this. This is the important dates, the times. And the times are as important as the dates, okay? So what we're going to look at first are these boxes across the top, the white. Today is Thursday, January 9th, 2020 at 6 p.m. We're doing the Rising Ninth Grade STEM Program Information Night at ECCA. You all should have gotten an invitation to be here. It means your children are qualified at this point in time to apply to STEM if they so want to come here. The next important day is tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. The application for the first lottery goes live at effinghamschools.com/STEM, which is right here, and it's in blue. If it was electronic for you, it'd be a link. At 7 a.m., that application will be live tomorrow morning. You can start applying for STEM. Okay? That's going to stay open until Friday, January 24th at 11:59 p.m. At the strike of midnight, it closes. If you forgot, if y'all were thinking about it and power goes out at home that night, and you can't get on the internet, at midnight it closes. Once it closes, we do not reopen it. Okay? Essentially, you missed the deadline. Doesn't mean you can't come to STEM and apply to STEM, okay? We're going to talk about that in a second. But you missed the first lottery, okay? So, and then on January 28th, that Tuesday at 8 a.m., here in this room, we will have the first lottery. Now, the first lottery will only take place if we have more than 150 of you students apply. We're going to take up to 150 of the 430 who qualify this time, 8th graders. If we have anything less than 150, we're not going to sit in here and pull numbers out of a box, okay? We're going to take all 150, anything up to 150, they're in, okay? At that time, if we know that's happening, we will notify via the website and some reminds ahead of time so you don't have to come up here and watch the lottery to see if your child's number was selected. Once you apply, it's going to give you a lottery number. Once you submit that application starting tomorrow morning, it'll give you a lottery number, but we're not going to make you come up here and watch if we don't need to. We'll let you know ahead of time, probably the day before. So probably on the 27th, we'll say, hey, we'll send out some blasts and say, hey, we had 150, we had 140, we had 135, whatever the number is. No need to come up here, your child's in. Okay? So that's the first set of dates that are most important that you need to be aware of, okay? Once we get past this January 28th, we're going to go to the blue line going down. So at that point on the 28th, it says if the student is selected in the first lottery drawing, then your next important day will be Friday, January 31st. The STEM program first lottery acceptance letters will be mailed. We're going to send a letter by snail mail to you, okay? U.S. mail with postage and all, so saying that your child is in STEM, okay? If they want to come. Then on Friday, February 14th, 2 weeks later, at 11:59 p.m. All things open at 7 a.m. online. Everything closes with deadlines 11:59. Okay? So on the 14th at 11:59,
you have to confirm that you want that spot, that seat in STEM for next year, okay? Some will forget that. Don't put it off to the last minute. Electricity will go out or something. I promise it's happening. And once again, we don't reopen. So you've got to go through this confirmation. Once you do the confirmation, your child's really in, okay? They have a seat, they've got one of those 150 seats at that point. And then on Monday, May 25th at 4 p.m., whatever summer work we're going to have for your students, we'll go live on that day at 4 p.m. on the computer, on the website. I will tell you that summer work has decreased since we started STEM. I will tell you as a principal, I am not the biggest fan of a lot of summer work. I believe that children need a break. I promise you we're going to work them for 180 days. During the summertime, they need a little downtime. They need some family time. There will be a few things they will do, but it has greatly reduced since we started STEM, just so you know that. And then after that, you'll have the onboarding event on Thursday, July 30th at 6:30 here. And that event, once again, is for both the students who are in the program, and their parents. We're going to split you up again. The students are going to have their own sessions about time management, organizational skills, and other stuff. That way, parents, we're going to have, I usually have about 3 or 4 sessions for you this way, okay? If you just can't make your mind up whether your child really wants to do this or not, or your child can't make a mind up, if they don't do that first lottery, then we come over here, okay? Or if you forget to do the application or you forget to do the confirmation, you'll come over here, and then you got the dates, February 24th, second lottery, postcards will be mailed, so we're going to send another postcard to anybody that qualified that didn't go first time. Just to remind you, hey, it's not too late. And then Monday, March 2nd, with the second lottery application, we'll go live at 7 a.m. Second lottery application deadline will be on May 26th. The reason that one's super late, it's basically school's out at that point, is as we start to get close to that time of the year, new people who are going to be moving into Effingham with jobs and various other things, there's going to be some students who qualify for STEM that we don't even know exist at this point in time, and we want to give them an opportunity to get in here if they want to. So that's the reason that one's as late as it is. That Friday, May 29th will be the drawing, if we have to have a drawing. Remember, they'll take up to about 150. I can tell you, if we end up through 2 lotteries of having 155 or probably even 160 kids, we're probably going to take all of them. Now, if we get much over about 160, we will have to go to the lottery because we can't physically serve that many students, 9th graders, with the staff that we have, okay? Tuesday, June 2nd, acceptance letters to be mailed, and it just goes right on down, and then once again, then you'll loop back over here to onboarding, okay? Any questions? Excuse me, no questions. We'll do questions at the end. If you got a question over anything I said, just make a note, and at the end, we'll do a Q&A session. This time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Peavy.
Good evening. A few of these things may seem a little out of order at times as I'll read through, or we may be going backwards at times, but going back to your child and what they are doing currently in middle school, they have had quite a few opportunities at the middle school level to earn high school credits. And here's a list of credits. Your child may or may not have earned any or most of these, which is fine. We're finding those students come in, they're at all various levels. The first group that came in, everybody took Algebra 1, everybody took Geometry. We're finding that that's not the case now, with Algebra 1 being offered at the middle schools, Physical Science, Spanish 1, French 1, and Basic Ag. And then also, quite a few of the middle schools have their own STEM programs, so your children have already been introduced to the STEM process and the thinking, and a lot of this deeper, higher order thinking that Mr. Kiefer was speaking of. So some of the transition that you've heard about previously from some of our first cohorts is not as bad as it was because of the things that the middle schools have been doing. As Mr. Keeper stated, if you are here tonight, your child has been invited, and that means that they've qualified to be invited. And what does that mean that they're qualified? Qualification actually began with their 6th grade math, GMAS. They had to score developing, proficient, or distinguished in 6th grade. Then we moved to 7th grade. 7th grade became proficient or distinguished in mathematics. The third qualifier, after they made those hurdles, they had to have achieved an 80 or higher end-of-year grade in their science and math course. Notice we are now picking up a science equivalent. The GMAS did not have that prior, so that's why we're using the science scores at the end of 7th grade. Then also at the end of 7th grade, we're looking at their Lexile, which is their reading score, and they had to be above a 970, which just basically means that they are reading on grade level. The first year of STEM, we did not do that. We only looked at math and science and realized there's a lot of reading that occurs here. So if your child struggled with reading, they struggled here at STEM in that first year. So you're here tonight, as we said, because your child is eligible to attend STEM. And as Mr. Kiefer just went through the process, they're not in STEM yet. You have to be sure that you follow that flow chart. That flow chart, those dates and times are very important. And he is not making it up about the electricity went out, so I missed the deadline because we were waiting till the last minute. I would advise you, if you're unsure, put your name in the hat, so to speak. Let your name be drawn, and you can always decline later. That way you've at least secured that slot until you are firmly decided on yes or no. There were 438 graders in the system that qualified, and we will be taking 150. So, STEM endorsement. What does it mean to come to STEM? What does it mean for your child to attend the STEM Academy and for them to achieve STEM endorsement, which is an award that will be awarded at graduation? Basically, it is saying that they took a STEM curriculum, and in that STEM curriculum, it is above what is required by the state of Georgia as far as graduation requirements. For example, the state of Georgia requires 4 mathematics courses. For STEM, we require 6. 5 sciences will be required. To graduate from high school, only 4. 4 English, language arts courses, and 4 social studies. That's your regular graduation requirements. 3 foreign languages, which is not a graduation requirement. 3 STEM pathway courses, 3 scientific research courses, 1 health and personal fitness, which everyone in the state is required to have, and then various electives. This is also in your packet, so if you're like me and you're going, what is all this on the screen? This is a tentative 4-year plan for a student. And when I say tentative, apparently when this was designed, we all thought that every child was going to look exactly alike. Mr. Kiefer and I quickly determined in the very first year that no child in this building was exactly alike. They had different interests, they had different likes, dislikes, they had different talents. Some leave here a period early to go back to the base school because they are in wind ensemble. There's all sorts of things that take place. So, just looking in the top left corner is your 9th grade schedule. Basically, everyone will take an English. Everyone in 9th grade pretty much takes 1 science, 2 math courses, a research course, health and PE, also an elective, and a foreign language. They may end up with 2 foreign languages. They may end up with 2 history courses. It just depends on your child and what they are interested in and what paths they are choosing to take. 10th grade is on the bottom left. Very similar pattern. I will say 9th and 10th grade, the children do not have as many choices to make. Their main choice is what elective do I want to take or what foreign language do I want to take. 11th and 12th grade though, most of your choices really start coming into play. They get to choose which math, which science, is no longer a prescriptive or prescribed course offering at that point. Some courses you may notice are written all the way across the screen. That means they are a year long. For our AP courses, we do that so that the student has longer to achieve in those classes, because that is basically college content that they are learning over the course of a year. Okay, we basically have 5 periods here: 0, 1/2, third, what we call 4, 5, and 6. The fraction periods, don't let that scare you if you're not a math person. That's just how it meshes with the high school schedule, so that's where these funky fractions came from. But basically, each class is 74 minutes. Mr. Keeper mentioned, basically your child will be in a class for 70 minutes a day each week, because we do take away a few minutes to do the instructional focus period. We have 2 lunch periods, and that's determined based on what class they are in, because I know that's really important. Who am I going to lunch with? Who's at lunch with me? That's the most important question usually for a freshman, is where they're going and who's it with. So, but they will do 4 classes. Our lunch period is that 4 or 5 period, so some will eat lunch, then go to class, others it's a split lunch. And then for those of you who your child may be in wind ensemble or applying and auditioning for wind ensemble, at 6th period they will return to the high school, and they will take 6th period band, and then probably pick up another class at 7th period. If your child is planning to stay here through all 6 periods, then return to the high school for band, weights, etc., then that would be, they would return at 2:25. Also, students at 2:25 can return to the high school to take a class called Instructional Focus, which is nothing more than a study hall, and that's to help you, the parents, with transportation, because then they will be bused home from their base high school. Or, if you would prefer, your child can be picked up from here and their day can end at 2:25. So those are things as parents that you can think about and consider before next year, if you would prefer that they leave and end their day at 2:25, or do you want them to return to their base school? What else are we going to do here besides science, math, and all these academics you've heard about? We have clubs just like the 2 base schools do. Some of these clubs, you will notice, are the same clubs that they had at the middle schools. So we have our CTSOs, which is our career tech clubs, which is TSA for engineering, HOSA for our healthcare pathways, and FBLA is for our information pathway and technology. We also have the National Beta Club, National Honor Society, National and Science Olympiad. In addition to that, we have Chess Club, Fellowship of Christian Students, Math Club, Model Union, Student Council, and the Society of Women Engineers. So there's lots of opportunities for your child to get involved. They are still welcome to be involved back at the base schools. The base high schools offer other programs besides these and other organizations because they are larger. So we encourage them to always go back and participate in those functions also. And now Mr. Dickey will come present.
Thank you, Dr. Peavy. So for you numbers folks, I just want to take just a minute to show you some data to kind of illustrate the strength of the STEM program. Last year, we had our first graduating cohort, 63 students. These students started here at whenever the STEM program began. They started as sophomores, so they did 3 years here. And you can see that a student in Effingham County needs 24 credits to graduate. Those 63 students on average earn close to 35 credits here. And again, that's just in 3 years, 35 credits, which is pretty extraordinary. The most credits earned, one student earned 41 credits. The least number of credits earned was 29. Also, if we skip on down there to the AP credits earned, you probably know AP credits, AP courses. Colleges look very closely at the number of AP courses, the quality of AP courses that your students take. These 63 students earned a total of 232 AP credits, on average close to 4 AP credits per student. The average SAT score for those students was a 1240, and that compares to the at ECHS, the average score was 1084, and at SEHS it was 1088. The average ACT score for those 63 students was 26.5, and the average over ECHS and SEHS was 21.8. Another interesting number that you may like to see, of those 63 students, just 63 students earned a total of over $1 million in scholarship money, an average of $17,000. And we also had 5 of those students enlisted in the armed forces. So again, pretty extraordinary performance by, the 63 students who graduated. Here we're looking at AP tests. Our AP program is extraordinary. There's no question about it. What you see up here is everywhere where you see a red number is where the STEM students here outperform the non-STEM students at the base schools. 2016, 2017, we have a lot of places where we just don't have the data. Obviously, with just 2016 being our first year here, there wasn't that many AP courses being taken. But if you look down the 2018, 2019, you can see in just about every category we were outperforming, and in a lot of cases by a pretty wide margin. Like for instance, if you look at the AP macroeconomics, the non-STEM students are 60% pass rate, 3 or better on the AP exam, whereas every one of ours who took macroeconomics scored a 3 or better. AP language, almost twice as good here compared to non-STEM. AP calculus, AB, 94.7%, 21.4. We offered AP Calculus BC. It's not even offered at the base high schools, and we had a 100% pass rate on the AP Calculus BC exam. Again, extraordinary numbers. So tip my hat to the teachers who do that, and the students. Again, so just kind of up and down the line, you can see. Again, AP is a big deal, especially whenever you're filling out that college application, not to mention the fact that you can earn college credit by passing these AP exams. So it can be good for your wallet, and it can be good for the school that your child gets into. Milestone scores, again, the same story. The performance on milestones is just, we're at, in 2018, 2019, proficient and distinguished, we're over 90% in every single one of them. Again, so just extraordinary performance. So again, just for those of you who are numbers folks, it's just some data to kind of show you the strength of the program, the strength of the student body, the strength of the faculty. And now I'll turn it over to Ms. Kate Keegan.
Okay, so we often get the question, how does STEM affect after high school? And what I want to tell you is the rigor is primary in college admissions. They want to see that students are doing the best that they can, most rigorous in academics that they can. That's AP honors, the STEM coursework. They're also gonna look at the standardized testing. That's the grand equalizer across the nation. You know, how are people performing on the SAT, the ACT, AP scores? Those are all standardized, so colleges really take a good look at that. On the transcript, STEM students have the course name and then it has STEM out next to every single course that they have taken here, highlighting for admissions that they have done something exceptional in their high school career. In addition to that, I send a profile which has all of these numbers that you've seen. Those AP scores, again, that's standardized, that's nationally standardized. So it's not just saying, okay, they did an honors class and it might be name only. This is proof that they've done a quality course. So we send that. One of the things that I do like to tell incoming freshman parents is, throughout your high school time, I want you to really try and highlight your students' passions. And you want to do that through all the different areas available to you. So you don't want to kind of have them get involved in everything, all the clubs and that kind of thing, but say they're interested in healthcare. So then you pick HOSA as the club to be interested in. You also might have them do the day seminar at Augusta University, which costs $20 to build the resume. They might volunteer with the American Red Cross as community service. They're basically highlighting this passion that they have. They have a summer volunteer program at St. Joseph's Candler. You're basically highlighting this great interest that they have, and you're doing activities that kind of showcase that, if you will. The admission essay for college admissions is key. That needs to be crafted. It needs to be well thought out. They need to have all the grammatical and spelling errors cleaned up. We try and help them with all of these things in admissions because it is so important. The extracurricular commitment is a good thing, okay? Let's just be honest. We have some bookworm children. If they like to study, they need people. They can't live as an island. So this extracurricular stuff, that's where they get that social interaction with other like-minded people that have those same interests. Community service is not a requirement for graduation in Effingham County. However, a lot of admissions committees and scholarship committees will look at community service. Demonstrated interest is what I was talking about earlier, and they want to secure some good, solid letters of recommendation. Now, I learned this my first year. I said, give me 2 weeks to write a letter, and then I was writing 63 letters in a really short period of time. So I'm going to say, give us as much time as you can to write a good, solid letter of recommendation, because the bulk of these kids are going to need them, and we can't produce that fast. Not quality work, and these kids really deserve that. So kind of give us as much time as you can. Okay, so our website, where you can find all of the things that were referenced here, is on the ECCA website. This is the official website. You're going to have lots of unofficial things that you see, but this is what is official. We point you in that direction. Mr. Kiefer has a remind. We invite you to sign up for. He will send out notices in regard to all of these things you've heard about tonight. And then here are the email addresses of our administration for your use. We are going to answer questions, but if it's okay, the administration, and I will step out there because we've got a new batch coming in, and the teachers as well. We're going to answer your questions as they occur to you, okay? So just give us a chance to transition.
Yeah, if you would for Q&A, well, what time is it? Let's take a couple questions in here. If they're general, don't ask questions right now that are specific to your child, but if it's kind of a general question that might apply across the board, and then we'll move out. For your individual questions, we'll all go out here in the hallway. We've got a lot of teachers, all the admin, and we'll come out here and do more individualized questions if it pertains something specific to your child, but a general question right over here. Go ahead.
We
No. So do I need to be here for the lottery if the lottery takes place? Absolutely not. Now, what we'll do is if we have to go to the lottery, we will post those numbers on the website for you to check. You can always call us too, but we're going to let you know ahead of time whether we're going to have the lottery. If we have up to about 150 or so, we're not, well, up to 150, we're not going to have an actual drawing. They're done. And we will do blast out through this, you have this piece of paper in your folder. Highly recommend, and you can do it with your phone, if you will text at 9STEM2020 to 81010, you can do that right now. I'm the only person that's going to send messages through that reminder. And it's really going to be, I'm going to send out reminders that, hey, that the application opens tomorrow morning, or I'll send one in the morning or later tonight. I'll do one before the deadline, just as a reminder, okay? I'm not going to burn you up and bog you down in reminders, I promise. But if you subscribe to it and your child does come here, stay subscribed to it for 4 years, and anything I need to send to that cohort of students and parents, that's where I'm going to send it, okay?
What is the, first of all, the earliest that students can be dropped off?
Okay.
And or are there buses
Okay.
available?
Good question. So, is there bus transportation in the morning? Remember, class starts, we have something called zero period, and it starts at 7:30. That's what time class starts here for STEM. Bus transportation is currently this year offered from a bus leaves, pulls out of Marlowe Elementary School at about 6:45, arrives here just a few minutes after 7 so they can have breakfast. We have a full cafeteria and everything. We have a second bus that pulls out of South Effingham Elementary School at about 6:45. We'll stop at Blandford Elementary a few minutes after that, 10 minutes after that, to make a quick stop to pick up any students who need it, if they need it. Currently, there's no transportation from the north end of the county. To go to the second part of your question, what time do we open the doors? Our doors open absolutely by 6:45 a.m. We open the doors. We have a few that show up earlier than that. One thing I will tell you is if it's a real situation where you've got to drive into Savannah to work, that's the only way your child's going to get here. If you drop them off, don't bring them at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. But nobody will be here. But we usually have somebody in the building by 6:30. If I can promise you, if it's storming outside, if it's freezing outside, we're not going to leave your children locked out in the building. We'll let them in to the cafeteria, I promise. But the doors are always open by 6:45. Only come in 9th grade only. This is your child's only chance to get in STEM.
If they come in 9th grade and it's definitely not for them, what are their options?
What are their options? Okay, so if they come in as a 9th grader, they have the first 10 days of school as a 9th grader to change their mind. It's the only group of students who have that choice. Only 9th grade. They have 10 days. So they can decide to go back to Effingham or South, no questions asked, and we'll help facilitate that for them. After that, the next opportunity will be at the end of the first 9 weeks, and the opportunity there is only if your child is failing one or more classes to the point that they cannot recover. Because they're semester classes, they're going to go before what we call Academic Review Committee, which is made up of Dr. Peavy, Ms. Keith, Mr. Dickey, myself, and the 2 high schools, folks from there. And we'll make a recommendation to you as a parent that we think your child should return or shouldn't. If we recommend, most of the time we're going to recommend that your child return. You have a right to override. If you sign an override, your child's here for the rest of the year, no questions asked, you cannot leave. Because you override the grid, you did an override over a recommendation of those of us who are teaching your children. Beyond that, we do ask for the yearly commitment. There have been some circumstances that have caused some students to leave at other times. The way I'm going to put that to you, the further we get into the year, the harder it is to transition your student to the high school. Because, think about this, if your child during fall semester does not have, let's say they're not taking their ELA and social studies course in the fall, they're going to take it in the spring and start in January. Well, guess what? If we send them back to the high school mid-year, at the high school, they're already halfway through the courses, y'all. What are they going to do with your child? They're probably going to end up taking 2 courses in ELA or social studies or whatever course it is in 10th grade. It's going to make it tough. We do ask, and I promise you, we're gonna support you and your children. I promise that, to make them successful. Okay, we're not at all here to make you and your family life hard, your child's life hard. We're gonna do everything we can to help.
With them going, if they're accepted into STEM, do they have to go to the school within the high schools within their zone in, or do they have choices to go to either high school for their?
They still go to their zone school.
Their zone school.
Yep. They can go, if your child's involved in band, they'll go back to whatever their zone school is for their band courses. If they're, the real one that comes into play there is gonna be, wind ensemble. If it's wind ensemble, they have to leave here a period early, which means seventh period, they're gonna have to take something at the high school. They can take an ELA, a social studies. The only thing they cannot take in high school and be part of them, they cannot take math and science. Ms. Keith, real quick. Okay, thank you. But ag, there's a whole host of things. They can go over there for a study hall too, okay? Very back standard.
Sports for the high school.
Sure.
They can still do.
Absolutely. So sports, cheerleading, really, remember, your children are not graduating from Effingham College and Career Academy. They're graduating from one of those two high schools. That is their high school, okay? They have a right to participate in anything offered at that school. We coordinate for sports, so let's say they got an away game this Friday, and it's in Waycross, and they've got to leave at noon to drive to Waycross. We facilitate with the high schools. It's seamless. Parents don't have to worry about it. We facilitate with the coaches and all. Either we put them on one of the shuttle, and we run shuttle buses all day long between here and the schools. We'll put them on the appropriate shuttle bus to go back to the high school to be there in time to have their early team deal or whatever. Or sometimes the high schools will simply stop by here with the buses and pick them up. Absolutely no problems with any of that. It's really seamless, right back here.
If you're getting more than 150 in the first lottery, how many are you going to take in the first lottery?
We're going to take up to 150.
150.
We'll take up to 150, but I can guarantee you there will be a second lottery. Because of those 150, all of them are, some are going to forget to confirm, and some are going to back out. We've actually had up to 140, about 145, 47 in a first one that we have done, and we still end up having a second lottery that's been open where we still taking another 25, 30 kids. So far, unless this group changes that, we will have both.
What about ROTC at the homeschool?
Absolutely. Your children can be in ROTC. We have STEM students in ROTC. That would be their 7th period class when they go back. They would take their ROTC then. On days that they have to wear uniforms and all, they wear them here. When it comes to uniform, dress code, all the rules of school, we are a school, y'all. We're the Effingham County Board of Education. Everything applies. We're no different. Okay, so same uniforms, except that your child can wear anything for Effingham County High School, anything for South Effingham High School, and any of our stuff. We're pretty easy and flexible on that. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we got to get the next group.